And so basically my capstone is talking about sustainable and then using this to reinforce that. I'm also at the end to talk about effort allocation, conduct, and to like plan back. We really talk about again, why do you have to feel how to organize people's back.
For folks in the live stream, we're ready to get started. Just give me a sign when we're up and running. Good afternoon. My name is Leonardo Figueroa Heland. I'm Chair and Associate Professor of Environmental Policy and Sustainability Management Program. I am honored and thankful to be joined here in the stage by my esteemed colleague and friend, Dr. Tamara Gilbertson, who works with the Indigenous Environmental Network and who's also a professor at the Environmental Policy and Sustainability Management. It is truly an honor to welcome you to our listening session on Indigenous women facing climate catastrophe as water protectors of territorial health. This is an event parallel to the 22nd session of the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Leonardo Figueroa Heland. Soy director y profesor del programa en Política Ambiental y Sustentabilidad aquí en el New School. Estoy honrado de tener junto a mí en el podio a mi colega y estimada amiga, la doctora Tamara Gilbertson, que trabaja con la Red Indígena Ambiental y que también es profesora en el programa de Política Ambiental y Sustentabilidad. Es un verdadero honor darles la bienvenida a nuestra sesión de escucha sobre mujeres indígenas que afrontan la catástrofe climática como protectoras del agua y de la salud territorial. Se trata de un evento paralelo a la 22 sesión del Foro Permanente de las Naciones Unidas para las Cuestiones Indígenas. Por favor, perdone meu conocimiento limitado de la lengua portuguesa. As instruções em português estarão escritas em verde. Boa tarde, meu nome é Leonardo Figueroa. É realmente uma honra recebê-lo em nossa sessão de escuta sobre mulheres indígenas enfrentando catástrofes climáticas como protetoras de água de saúde territorial. Este é um evento paralelo a la sessão do Fórum Permanente das Nações Unidas sobre questões indígenas. We will now provide instructions in the three languages, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Instructions for inline interpretation. For those of you, please click on the icon of the world in the lower right-hand corner of your Zoom screen and click on English. I want to thank our interpreters to Spanish and Portuguese, particularly our interpreter who has organized interpretation services, Cassandra Smithis. Ahora en español les doy las instrucciones para la interpretación en línea vía Zoom. Para escuchar la interpretación al español, oprima el símbolo del mundo a la derecha de la parte inferior de la pantalla y oprima el español. Gracias a nuestros intérpretes.
Instrucção para interpretação online. Para ouvir a interpretação português, clique no símbolo do mundo na parte inferior direita da tela e clique em português. Queremos dar uma graças a nossos intérpretes, especificamente também Cassandra Smithis para organizando toda a interpretação.
I will now provide instructions for in-person interpretation. For those of you who are joining us today here in the auditorium, please place the earpiece in your ear, turn the receiver on, and adjust the volume. Please return the receiver at the conclusion of the panel. Also, please turn off your cell phones. Sit towards the center of the auditorium. And for English, you gotta click on channel 1 of your receiver. Ahora en español, las instrucciones para interpretación en persona. Colóquese el auricular en la oreja, prenda el receptor y ajuste el volumen. Por favor, devuelva el receptor al final del panel. Por favor, apague o silencie sus celulares. Siéntese hacia el centro del auditorio y sintonice el canal 2 de su receptor.
E instrução para interpretação presencial. Coloque o auricular no ouvido, ligue o receptor e ajuste o volume. Por favor, devolver o receptor na conclusão de painel. Por favor, desligue ao mundo a som de seus teléfonos celulares. E, por favor, sente-se no centro de auditório, graças a nossos intérpretes, outra vez. E o canal de português é número 3.
This event is being live streamed and recorded and broadcasted live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Please note, however, that the interpretation option is only available in person and via Zoom. Este evento está siendo retransmitido en directo y está siendo grabado, transmitido en vivo vía YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram y Twitch. Note que la opción de interpretación solo está disponible vía Zoom y en persona.
E o live stream e gravação, este evento está sendo gravado e transmitido ao vivo no YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram e Twitch. Por favor, observar que a opção de interpretação só está disponível pessoalmente via Zoom.
From this point forward, I was speaking only in English. A partir de este momento hablaré en inglés. A partir de este punto hablaré en inglés. Miliyoshuke, shikaltik, miliyoshuke, ansetik, biniketik, metiketik, totiketik, sebetik, keremetik ta kotolik, kuavelanik. I greet you, women, men, elders, youth, all of you present. How is everyone today? How are we feeling? Woo! Bone Hakbi Leonardo Figueroa Helen, Likemon Talta, Mesoamérica, Nahuatl, México Tenochtitlan, Nakalonta, Lenape Hawking, New York, New Jersey, Chiaptec, Takchivit, Takchamvun, Ta Milano School Environmental Policy and Sustainability Management, Colaval, Cuavelanik. My name is Leonardo Figueroa. I'm an arrivant from the Central Valley of Mexico, Tenochtitlan, Mexico City, now dwelling in unceded Lenape Hawking, New York City, New Jersey. I'm originally from the Central Valley of Mexico, but now I live in Lenape Hawking in New Jersey. I work at the Milano School as a professor of environmental policy. Thank you all. I greet you in one of the languages of my Tzotzil Maya ancestors. I'm a mestizo scholar, mixed blood scholar who has dedicated his work to decolonization and reclamation of our indigenous ancestors' knowledges and lifeways and the support of struggles to amplify the voices of indigenous peoples, especially indigenous women and frontline defenders. In doing so, I want to acknowledge that as a mixed blood person, I carry with me the heritage of the colonizer and the colonized, and in so doing must acknowledge the complicity of some of my ancestors in the colonial project and help to advance the work of reclamation and indigenous resurgence. I want to open us up with a gesture of gratitude to Mother Earth, Father, Son, and the cosmos in Tzotzil Maya. Kolabak Chemetik Balamil Chu Balamil Me'e. Thank you, Mother Earth, Sacred Earth Mother. Kuchal Mu Shakichetamuk Kuchala Hek Kashaltik. How am I not going to dignify and honor you as you hold us in your care? Kolabal Chu Kakal Tote. Thank you, Sacred Sun Father. Kolabal Chul Binahel. Thank you, Sacred Sky and Cosmos. Chukaltik Snitox Ba Teskotol. Chul Osil Binahel. Our conscience is articulated with everything that's sacred in the universe, and it's this interconnection that makes it all sacred. We are united and interconnected with this whole. Once again, thanks everyone for being here. Now, I want us to proceed by first acknowledging the Indigenous territories in which we stand, but also acknowledging the struggles of Indigenous resurgence against colonialism, as well as other subaltern struggles for liberation. I want to acknowledge that the new school is situated on the ancestral territory, the unceded territory of the Lenni Lenape, the real people. This was and is Lenape Hoking, the land of the Lenape, a reality that we must come here to acknowledge. We're gathered in relation to New York City and the new school, which stand on stolen land dispossessed by settler colonialism. And Lenape people, wherever they exist and continue to resist, struggle to this day for the rematriation of their ancestral lands, and we must stand in solidarity in support of those struggles. I ask you to join me in acknowledging the Lenape Nation, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations, who, notwithstanding the settler colonial project of dispossession, continue to nurture their ancestral knowledge upon which this land has been sustainably cared for thousands of years. As we stand on Indigenous lands, we must honor, respect, and offer our care and gratitude to the land, water, air, and the elements that hold us together. We must also acknowledge that New York City is the city with the largest American Indian population in the country, and that is also home to one of the largest communities of diasporic Indigenous peoples from across the world, who carry with them thousands of years of knowledge passed down by the ancestors, in addition to the exemplary struggles in defense of Mother Earth, for the health of the body, for the health of territory, and for anti-colonial resistance and liberation. This includes today also those who join us from across our sacred earth on the occasion of the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. We want to particularly honor Indigenous women, who so often are the main knowledge keepers and frontline defenders who carry forward the communities into decolonial futures, as they lead us in protecting and reclaiming territories, that is to say, in advancing the project of Indigenous rematriation. I also want to recognize the connected histories of Black and Indigenous oppression, genocide, colonialism, and trauma on this land. We must acknowledge that the settler colonial project and its institutions are founded not just on displacement and erasure of Indigenous peoples, but also upon the abduction of Black people from their ancestral lands for using Black people's bodies for forced labor. Finally, we must acknowledge that we speak from the core of global capitalism and empire, whose hegemony is established upon histories of dispossession, land grabs, displacements, and forced migration of peoples to whom justice is still due. Beyond verbal recognition, I call upon all of us, including this university or our institutions, to make real material commitments to confront and dismantle the legacies of colonialism, white supremacy, heteropatriarchy, and systemic racism, and to work in complicity to bring about decolonization, land rematriation, justice, and reparations. I want to also thank everyone who made this event possible: Claire CHARLO from the Indigenous Environmental Network, Elisa Soto Danseco, Tamara Gilbertson, Daisy Francoeur, Cassandra Smithis, Nam Pham, Joshua Witcher, Laura Lagner, Kay Tooley, Timmy Lewis, Adrian Perovich, Cameron Harbin, Daphne Yeltikin, Zainab Kohli, Orpheus Kotelis, and Mark Fitzpatrick. Without all of you, I want to invite our facilitator, Claire CHARLO, Indigenous Feminisms organizer from the Indigenous Environmental Network, to join me in the podium and help us guide us through this listening session. Thanks a lot, Claire.
That was an incredible land acknowledgement, Leo. I appreciate it. And I also want to thank you. You did not thank yourself. So I want to thank you for all the help that you have given in this process. I am going to give the microphone over to SHYRLENE. She is going to say a prayer in her language. So translators, you are not obliged to translate the prayer. So I'm going to hand it over to SHYRLENE for the prayer. If you could stand, please.
Haush, Eu vou fazer um canto sagrado na nossa cultura, para que todos os nossos pensamentos, as nossas forças e as nossas energias sejam renovadas e se
in order to renovate
aqui
our
nesse evento
energy
de tão grande importância.
for this event of such importance.
Juba mana ibubu, Juba mana ibubu, Yushi bubu bubu tan, Iskawashun kayawai, kayawai ke. Juba bari jushibu, Juba bari jushibu, Jushibu bubu butan, Iskawashun kayawai, kayawai ke. Jubania nyushibu, Jubania jushibu, Jushibu bubu butan, Iskawashun kayawai, kayawai ke. House, house, house.
Thank you, SHYRLENE. That almost made me cry. Actually, I'm in tears. Yes, Sahal, Pesia, Claire Louis Quest, Lipe Pace, Lapapi Louis Quest, Janae and Lamke, in Chimkane. Hello, I am Claire CHARLO. I introduce myself in my Salish language. My government name is Claire CHARLO. My Indigenous Salish name is Lightfawn Lipepes Lapapi. I have been honored to have been offered a job with Indigenous Environmental Network. It is a dream job in which I am to bring back matriarchal teachings into environmental justice organizing. We are looking for solutions to the environmental catastrophe. We keep on hearing reports. I wanted to make sure that we have voices that are amplified from our sisters in the South. Right now, we have several sisters on the stage in which they are fighting for their homelands. And I want to make sure that they have a platform. Indigenous women have been paying the price for colonialism and environmental violence. Violence against the land is violence against Indigenous women in two-spirit. And unfortunately, because of colonialism, matriarchal teachings have been put aside. And it is time to bring back those teachings, to bring back the teachings of the way of living in reciprocity with Earth, of being in a way that we do not extract, we actually give back to the Earth. We want to get away from extractivism. There is a way to live in harmony with the Earth, and the Earth is not for sale. Unfortunately, we have governments all around the world that are trying to sell resources, water, and air and carbon and all these things that are not for sale. They have commodified a lot of things that are not for sale and that go against our matriarchal teachings. So this panel is to highlight Indigenous women, and basically we have women from the front lines on this stage that are incredible, and they want to share their story. I'm going to start with SHYRLENE because she has to leave and go to a panel quickly after this. And so SHYRLENE is going to start. I would like her to introduce herself and tell us about her home and the issues that she is facing. Thank you.
Está ligado.
Olá, eu me chamo SHYRLENE.
Hello, my name is SHYRLENE Oliveira da Silva.
Trago vozes do povo Hunicum,
Bring the
do
voices
Acre,
of the
da Amazônia brasileira.
of the Brazilian
Sou
Amazon.
uma das mulheres
I'm one of the
que
women
tem levado
that has been bringing the
do
voice
meu povo
from my
da
people
Amazônia
of the
e do
Amazon
Brasil para este mundo.
from Brazil to this world.
Tem nos preocupado
We have been
todos os acontecimentos do mundo.
concerned about all that's
Nós
happening in the
falávamos
world.
apenas a nossa língua
We
materna,
only spoke our native
a
language.
necessidade de falar o
The need to
português
speak Portuguese
veio. E agora nós
came,
encontramos
and
com a
now we
necessidade
need
de aprender o
to
inglês e falar
learn
para o
English
mundo
and
o
speak
que
to the
tem se
world
passado em
what
nossas
has been
casas,
happening in our
vilas e
houses,
aldeias.
in our villages.
Nossos
Our
territórios, nossas
territories,
terras
our
nativas
native
foram
lands have
invadidas.
been invaded,
Nossas águas
our waters
contaminadas,
contaminated,
nossos alimentos,
our
nossas
food,
medicinas
our
sagradas
sacred
também.
medicines also.
E agora
And
estão
now
querendo
they
comercializar
want to
aquilo
commercialize
que não é de domínio
what
nosso.
is not
E
in
nós,
our
povos indígenas,
territory.
temos como
Our
mais sagrado
indigenous
nosso
peoples
ar,
have it
as
the most sacred,
energias,
our
tudo que
home,
contém no
the
universo.
energies, everything that is
A
universe.
comercialização do
The
crédito carbono nas
commercialization
terras
of the carbon
indígenas
credit in the
tira e viola
indigenous
todos os nossos
lands
direitos.
violate all our rights.
Agride as nossas
It
mulheres,
attacks
as
our
nossas
women,
crianças
our
passam
children
fome,
get hungry,
os homens
the men
deixam as nossas
leave our
terras
lands,
e assim tem nos afastado
and
cada vez
we
mais
have been
das nossas
separated more and more
ancestralidades.
of our
Os nossos
ancestors.
anciões
Our
já
elderly
nos ensinaram há
have
milhares de
taught
anos.
us for
Só
thousands of
devemos
years.
tirar
We
da
should
mãe
only
terra o
remove from
necessário,
motherland
o
the
essencial
necessary,
para
the essential
sobreviver.
for survival.
Vivemos assim há
Live
milhares de anos.
for thousands of years like
A
this.
destruição
The
avançou no
destruction
mundo inteiro e
has
agora
been
querem
going
tirar
on in
de
the
nós,
entire world.
povos
Now they want to
indígenas,
remove
que
from
tanto
us, the indigenous peoples,
preservamos e
that have been
conservamos
preserving
o
and
nosso bem mais
our
precioso.
most valuable
Trazemos em
wealth
atenção ao mundo inteiro
to
as
the
nossas
entire
vozes,
world, our
as
voices,
nossas
our
preocupações e
concerns,
também
and
o
also
nosso grito de
our
socorro.
scream for
Os
help.
povos indígenas
The
não estão tendo
indigenous
seus
peoples
direitos respeitados,
are not
não
having
estão
their
sendo
rights respected.
consultados
They are
sobre
not
tudo
being
que tem
consulted
acontecido no
about
mundo
everything that's
com
happening
relação
in the
à
world
comercialização
relating
e à
to
colonização
commercialized
das terras
and
indígenas e do
colonization
carbono.
of the indigenous
Trazemos alerta de que
lands
nossas
and
terras já
carbon.
são
We
invadidas,
uh,
de que
telling
há lá
that
dentro
our
a exploração de
land that is
petróleo,
being invaded, the
a retirada de
exploitation of
madeira,
oil,
a
removal of
presença dos
wood,
garimpeiros,
the
e que isso coloca cada vez mais as nossas vidas em risco. As
the
pessoas que
people,
se
the miners
destinam
also
a
are putting
levantar
our
essa
lives in
bandeira e
danger.
trazer
The
as
people who
suas
want to raise
vozes
their
são
flags, this flag,
silenciadas, são
and bring their
assassinadas.
voices are
Nós temos
being assassinated.
resistido
But
desde
we have been
1500,
resisting since
muito antes
1500,
disso. E
way
assim
before
estamos
that.
tendo nossas
And now
lideranças,
our
dos nossos
leadership,
caciques,
our
as nossas
chiefs,
crianças,
our
as
children,
nossas mulheres,
our women
mortas da
are
forma
being
mais
killed
cruel
in the most
que se
cruel
podem
way
imaginar.
that you may
Já não
imagine.
temos mais
We no
direito a
longer
levar as
have the
nossas
right to
vozes
bring our voices
adiante. E
ahead.
assim resolvemos,
And
então,
then we
lutar
resolve
mais
to
uma vez e
fight once
resistir,
again and resist,
trazendo para todos os
bringing to
espaços
all the
onde se
spaces
tem
where
discussões
there are
sobre as
discussions
questões
regarding
climáticas, as
climate.
vozes indígenas,
We're
que
bringing
tanto
the
preservam
indigenous
o meio
voices
ambiente
that
e que
preserve the
vivem em
environment
harmonia.
and
Nós
live in
temos a
harmony.
floresta
We have the
como
forest
modo de
as a way to
sobrevivência, de
survive, to
resistência, de
resist
harmonia,
in
de
harmony,
conviver com o bem
to
mais
live
sagrado.
with it, which is
Em
the
meio a uma
most sacred.
pandemia
In the
que
middle of the
aconteceu,
pandemic that
todo mundo
happened,
se preocupou.
everybody got
Nós, povos
concerned.
indígenas, nos
Us, the
fechamos
indigenous
dentro das
people,
nossas aldeias
we
e
closed
assim
ourselves within our
conseguimos
villages.
sobreviver.
Our
Nós
brothers
temos
and
dentro da
relatives.
floresta as nossas medicinas,
Inside the
os
forest,
nossos
our
chás,
medicines,
as
our
nossas
teas,
canções.
our
E
songs.
assim nós nos
And in
curamos,
this way,
até que
we are
fosse
cured
chegada a vacina.
until the vaccine arrived.
Resistimos
We
e assim
resisted.
queremos
And in
continuar
this way,
a
we want to
existir,
continue to
sem
exist
que o homem
without
entre
men
e invada o nosso
enter and
território
invade
sem a
our
nossa
territory
permissão.
without our permission.
Essas políticas,
This
elas não chegam à
poli-
nossa terra.
politics do
Esses
not arrive to
recursos
our land.
financeiros
These financial
jamais
resources,
colocarão
they
comida
never
nos
put
nossos
food
pratos.
on our
Nós não
plates.
sobrevivemos dele.
We don't survive with
Sobrevivemos
that.
da
We
força
survive
e
from
dos
strength
plantios que temos
in
em nossas
the
terras
harvesting
e
that
que
we
estão
have
sendo
in our lands,
contaminadas.
which are being
Bebemos a água
contaminated.
do rio,
We
que está
drink the water of
contaminada
the
de
river,
mercúrio,
which is
que já não
contaminated
existem
with
mais os
mercury,
peixes.
and there's no
As
longer
nossas
fishes.
mulheres estão
Our
ficando
women are
inférteis,
becoming
estão
infertile.
adoecendo,
They are getting
estão deixando
sick. and they are
o bem mais precioso,
leaving aside
criar outras
the
vidas
most
e dar
precious
outras
wealth to
vidas.
create other
Agradecemos o espaço
lives.
junto
Thank the
com
space
pessoas
for
do
being
mundo
here
inteiro, com a
together
minha
with people
parente do
from
Brasil,
the
para
entire
levar
world,
nossas
with my
vozes e
relative
as
from
nossas
Brazil, bringing
preocupações
our
de
voices
que o
and
mundo
concerns
precisa
that
voltar
the
os
world
olhos
should
para
turn
coisas
their eyes to
imateriais,
things that
bens
are not
sagrados,
material,
para nossa
sacred
cultura,
wealth,
aquilo que
our
sabemos fazer
culture,
há
the
muitos
things that we
anos,
know how
já
to
nos
do for many years.
ensinavam os mais antigos.
And the elderly
Quando não
taught us
houver
that
mais nenhuma árvore de pé
when there will
e
no
nenhum
longer be
peixe
any
mais
tree
vivo,
standing,
aí sim
no
o
fish will be
homem dará
alive,
valor
then
às
man will be able
tradições e
to
às vivências
give value
indígenas.
to the
Nós
indigenous
estamos aqui
traditions.
dispostos a contribuir
We're
com
here
todas as discussões
available
científicas
to
em
contribute to
embasar,
all
temos
scientific
conhecimento e
discussions
temos
and
prática para
and we
contribuir
have the
de forma
knowledge and practice
eficiente
to contribute in an
com as
efficient
soluções
manner
climáticas,
to
desde
the
que elas sejam
climate
justas e
solutions
verdadeiras.
as long as
Obrigada.
they are
Rauch, Rauch.
just. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate those words, Shirlene. Those are beautiful. I'm really grateful. Shirlene came in late last night, and I'm really grateful that she was able to be here today to share her important words about her community and her people and her knowledge. I would like to pass the mic to LEILA now so she can talk to us about what's going on in her homeland.
Boa tarde.
Good afternoon.
Então, eu
So
queria
I would
agradecer
like to thank
muita vocês
very, very much to you
que nos trouxe.
that brought
Eu sou de
us.
Mato Grosso do
I'm
Sul.
from southern Mato Grosso.
Eu sou de uma retomada
I am
da fronteira do Paraguai.
I am at the border of
A
Paraguay.
minha retomada
My
se chama
village
KATU, município de Japoná.
is the city
Me
of Japoná.
trouxe longe até
It
aqui
brought me
para
from far
poder
away all the way here
chegar
to be
e
able to
contar
arrive and
a
tell
dor do meu povo,
the pain from my people,
Guarani Kaiowá.
Guarani Kaiowá.
Eu sou Guarani
I am
Mandeva.
Guarani.
Eu
I
represento
represent
o povo Guarani
the
Kaiowá porque a gente
Guarani
mora no
people
mesmo lugar, né?
because we live in the same place.
Então, isso muito importante
And
que a
it's very
gente
important that we
veio aqui
came here
contar
to
o
tell
nosso dor,
our
o dor
pain,
desse povo que
of our
passa
people
todo dia.
every day.
Então, no Mato Grosso do
In
Sul,
southern Mato Grosso,
povo indígena
the
Guarani
indigenous people
Kaiowá
Guarani Kaiowá
foi assassinados
were assassinated
pelo próprio dentro do seu território
within their
tradicional.
own traditional territory.
Quase 500
Almost 500
liderança.
leaderships like myself.
Eu sou uma
I'm
liderança.
a leader.
Quase 500
Almost
lideranças que já
500
foi
leaders have been gone.
matado.
They were killed.
Tem que
There is one
acha o corpo,
that the body was found.
tem que já não acha
There's some that they don't find it,
e nunca foi punido e
and they
nunca
were never
foi
punished.
aparecido.
They never appeared.
E a gente não
And
sabe mais
we
para onde
no
que a
longer
gente
know
vai pedir ajuda.
where we're going to ask for help.
Então isso
So this
é muito triste.
is very sad.
Como eu tô vivendo no
As
meio do
I'm
meu
living
povo,
some of my
vendo
people, seeing
morrendo
they're dying.
o meu povo,
My people are dying.
Depois a
And
gente
afterwards,
foi
we were
discriminado
discriminated,
que nós que estamos errados.
that we are the ones that are wrong.
Semana passada
Last
foi
week
pego, 10
was caught
10 Kaiowá e Guarani
10 Kiowa
por ter defendendo
for
seu direito.
having been defending their rights,
Porque o nosso
because
antepassado
our
nos
ancestors
deixou essa terra
left this land
para a gente
for
viver
us to live
e cuidar,
and care,
viver tranquilo,
live
mas só que nós
calmly,
não estamos
but
vivendo tranquilo
not being
onde
able
nós
to
vivemos.
live calmly and peacefully where we are
Nós
living.
não temos água,
We don't have water.
nós não temos
We don't
escola
have
para
a
as
school
crianças
for the
estudar.
children to
Nós
study.
não temos nem
We don't have
postinho de saúde para a gente
not even
pegar
a
o
little
remédio ou
uh,
fazer o consulta,
a,
né?
a facility for health to get a medicine
E cada
or
vez
to have a
mais,
visit.
quem não é
And
indígena
more, whoever is not indigenous,
ataca nós dentro da nossa terra
attack us within
tradicionais.
our traditional land.
E ele que está
And
ocupando o nosso
they are
espaço lá,
occupying our space there.
plantando soja, plantando milho
Soybeans or a corn,
e vários tipos de sementes ele
several
planta
kinds of seeds that they
e
plant.
ele usa veneno,
And they use
é veneno, ele
it's
usa.
agrotoxic, it's a
E a gente
poison. They use
vive
it, and we live
na retomada.
at the village.
E a gente bebe água
We water
da mina
from the mine,
e ele passa veneno
from the
cai
fountain,
dentro
and
da
there is
rio,
a
assim.
poison
E
that
lá a
goes
gente
into the
bebe
river,
a água
and
para
from there
beber.
we get the water to drink.
Tem momento que dá dor de cabeça, ânsia de vômito, febre. Porque a gente tinha que beber essa água. Não tem como.
We get fever.
Porque nós não temos
We
água limpa
have
para
clean
beber,
water to
para beber
clean.
criança. A gente tem que usar
Children don't
essa
have
água. Porque a
clean water
terra
to clean because we have to use that water,
onde eu vivo
because the land
já é
where I live
demarcado
has
2005.
been demarcated since 2005.
Então falta só homologação. E quando não
And
tiver
after the
essa terra
homologation,
demarcado,
and when
homologado,
our
nós
land is
nós
not
Guarani,
demarcated,
a gente sempre
and
vai sofrendo,
our
porque a gente
Guarani,
foi
we Guarani are always going to be
ele fala
suffering
assim,
because we were
que
attacked.
nosso área
He says that
ainda é
our area
litígio, quer dizer
is
que
still
não é
in litigation,
seguro.
which
E por esse
means it's
motivo,
not
quem não é
safe.
indígena,
And
ele
because it's
entra
not
lá
indigenous, for
para
sure,
plantar,
they go in there to
fazer a
plant,
plantação
to
dele
do
lá,
their
né?
plantation there.
Então isso para
And
mim
that's, to
é
me,
muito
is
difícil,
very
porque a
difficult.
gente pede,
And we are asking,
muita vez, a
many
gente veio na
times, we
Brasília,
came to
em
Brasilia.
Brasília,
I
pedindo
in
para
Brasilia
poder
asked
fazer a
to be able
demarcação,
to do the
fazer a
demarcation,
homologação,
to
para poder
homologate,
se a gente viver
so
tranquilo
we
com as
could
nossas crianças,
live
com nossos
peacefully with
idosos,
our
nossa
children, our
residência.
elderly, our
Mas até hoje a gente não recebeu a resposta nenhuma.
prayer
E
prayer
quanto
person, but
isso,
we never
o povo
received
Guarani caiu.
any answer. And
Mesmo
Kiowa
com
are
direito
suffering
da
a
nossa
lot,
área retomada,
a
nós
lot
não temos
because we
remédio.
don't have medicines in our
Então a
villages.
gente, do jeito que é
We don't have
culpado
medicines, and the
parente,
people here
no tempo da pandemia,
during the pandemic,
nós vivemos
we lived
nossos remédios
with
tradicionais.
our traditional medicines.
Se a gente não se, não
And-
se a gente não tivesse,
And if
ou
we
seja, o
didn't,
nosso tataravô não ensinasse nós,
if
como é
our
que a
grandparents
gente tinha
didn't
que
teach us
viver.
how we were supposed to live,
Se nós não
if
tivesse
we didn't
esse chá,
have these
esse
teas,
remédio tradicional
these
no mato,
traditional
a gente
medicines
não
in the woods,
sobreviveria.
we wouldn't be able to survive
Ninguém deu
because
remédio para nós.
nobody gave medicines to
Da
us.
gente não morreu tudo porque a gente sabe
We
que era
didn't die,
remédio
all of
tradicional.
us, because we still know traditional medicines. But our forest now is gone. There is no longer medicines. Where are we going to go? We're going to look for our medicines. To look for the medicines, we would have to go far away to get it, hiding from a territory that's not ours. And we are taking risks. We're risking our life to get in there to get the medicine for us to take it or to give to the children. If someone finds us there in the territory that's not our territory, they start killing us there. This is something that always happens in southern Mato Grosso, because with our survival, our indigenous peoples, we have passed our fish, the hunt, our traditional medicines, our traditional foods. And the way our relative is saying, to speak the other language, right? Because Portuguese, the Portuguese I'm speaking, not my language. It's not. I speak Guarani. So many things are not coming to me because my native language is another language, right? So it's been very difficult to learn another language. Imagine it being here, very far away from my traditional territory. I don't understand English. A little bit of Spanish, a little bit. But what we learn the most in southern Mato Grosso is Portuguese, not so much, not a lot. So our life is this. We want that someone do something to save the Guarani Kaiowá from southern Mato Grosso, because for us it's not easy to get all the way here very far. I am not able to bring here because they take there. I brought this here hiding. I cannot bring the painting, the makeup that I use. So this I'm leaving to you. I would leave to you that we are being very persecuted. Very persecuted. There's violence against women, against children. And most in southern Mato Grosso, no one almost respects the indigenous women. It could be the leadership, it could be any woman. They don't respect. So we want respect as indigenous women. We fight for our motherland. We want to bring back our motherland alive so that we can live a life too together with it. Because without our motherland, we indigenous people are nothing. So together with our motherland, we're alive. Each one of us live in this world. We were created by our motherland. She's the one who is our true mother. I'm thinking that I'm here talking for it, for her. Let's save our mother. Let's unite. Let's get together from everywhere, all the corners of the world, for us to save ourselves together with Mother Earth. I would like to thank you very much. I brought this pain, a lot of pain, from Southern Mato Grosso, because there is very difficult. There are a lot of sadness, a bloodshed, one after the other, and because of a little piece of our mother, because they didn't want to give us the rights to save our Mother Earth, because we need our Mother Earth. So that's what I would like to leave to you. I would like to thank everyone who's listening to me. Wanderu, Yanderu, heaven. The person who prays is gonna bless each one of us forever. So we always meet again. Maybe tomorrow. And afterwards, I'm no longer gonna be here. From up there, I'm gonna remember, and I'm gonna look to you that you're together with me here. Because in Southern Mato Grosso, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because I cannot go out by myself. If I go to some other place, I come very quickly back, and then I close my door and I don't leave just in any way. I'm living like a prisoner there. But God is listening to me. Yanderu up there can see me. And I think He's not gonna allow anything to happen to me, and that's why I'm here with you. And I would like to say once again, thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate Leila.
Muito
and
obrigada.
the fact that she
Realmente
brings up
dou
the
muito
fact that
valor,
she has to
principalmente dou muito valor
language
ao fato que ela tem que conversar com a gente em um
very
idioma colonizador, e é muito difícil de falar, de falar todos os fatos, né?
I'm going to give the floor to our guest, and I'm going to have an introduction. So do you mind? Thank you. Imainaya ñañaykuna, Mari Lamien, les damos las gracias, hermanas, por recibirnos.
Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, for welcoming us here. We've also traveled from very far away to share a message from our lands and territories and tell you a bit about our struggles. I'd like to give the floor at this time to my sister who is with us this afternoon. We're from the southern part of Chile, and we're getting to know new networks and brothers and sisters from other parts of the world. And we want to share a message with you, and I'm going to give the floor at this time to my sister.
Mari Kompuche, Pulamien,
Pu papai mlelo tu fameu, pu nyenruka, manyele teu, feitamu tamale payal, feitachi ruka meu, fachi ftawar ya meu, feita kama puta kapayin kain chin, inchuta in lamien, feimuta malay feita meu, tañi uita, Eva Rachel Pinien, Kachanya ni Kunir, feiti Marcuna Maputa tu Wente Inche, feita Valdivia Piñeta ni región, Chile Piñeta in Pu Guaymapu, Ulumapu Mulelu Yeu, Feicompu Puche, Pu Ichocom Pu Malen, Mulelo Feita Meu, Puñaña, Ichocom Maputa Kupalu, Ngulu palu ta injin, fenten ke sungu ta mlelu, fei muta, mle pain fei ta meu. Wenuma puchao ni pilu, fei pilu kishu, fei muta, mlejin fei ta meu. Feo la mai winka sunwan, fei ta meu ka. Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to speak in Spanish, but I greeted you in Mapuchedun, which is my ancestral
Essa
language in which I
Mapuchedun é a
learned
minha língua
from
ancestral,
earth.
que eu aprendi desde
That is my maternal tongue, but I also speak Spanish, which I learned in school in Chile. My name is Eva, and I'm from the San Jose commune. I'm from Araucania, which is the ancestral territory of the Mapuche Nation. And I'm very proud to be a native speaker of my indigenous languages. My parents and my grandparents have always been Mapuches from the countryside, and we've always taken care of the elements of nature in our territory. I'd like to thank you for inviting me to this panel, and thank you for recognizing that this is ancestral indigenous land. We're really happy to be here. We know that there are many indigenous women from different territories, from countries from all over the world, are here in New York right now. The UN. There are other Mapuche women who've also come to the UN and to New York. I want to share with you that we're part of an indigenous organization that has a Mapuche name, which is from our commune or municipality. And we work on really important issues such as recovering our territory and protecting and revitalizing our medicinal plants. We also take care of the environment, which includes all kinds of medicine, not just plants, but the soil, the wetlands, the rivers, the wild fruit and berries. All of nature is part of our medicine. And we have a very holistic worldview of healing, and women play a crucial role in the revitalization of our culture and our medicines. And we are working very hard on defending the well-being and health of our Mapuche community. And we work with our grandmothers, who are the spiritual leaders of the Mapuche Nation, and with our elders We also have our traditional Mapuche healers and doctors who not only look at a person's health, but their overall spiritual well-being. And so, yes, of course, we look at how a person's bones are, how their skeleton is, how their muscles are, how their sexual and reproductive health is. We have been working for 9 years with this intercultural healthcare program. We signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Health of the Chilean government to implement this program with our traditional healers, but unfortunately, there is a lot of pollution in our territory because of the monoculture tree plantations and the pulp paper industry, which poison the plants and the waters and even the fruits and berries of our territory and even the sacred sanctuaries of our land. Unfortunately, because of the monoculture eucalyptus and pine plantations for the timber industry, our rivers are drying up because these plantations use vast amounts of water and they destroy biodiversity. They wipe out the plants and native trees. It's very difficult for our endemic biodiversity to survive the onslaught of the monoculture tree plantations. These plantations gobble up the water, dry up our rivers, and this in turn results in a scarcity of our medicinal plants. So have no doubt, monoculture tree plantations are evil and they have very adverse impacts for our peoples who have been in our territory forever. And these companies come and they just pollute and destroy. Another form of adverse impacts is that there are Chinese companies who are coming in and planting genetically modified crops for export. And we, as Indigenous peoples, as Indigenous women who are defending our territory in alliance with other Indigenous women of other territories, are really having a hard time. We're struggling against the state, we're struggling against multinationals, and we're struggling against the super rich of the world. Can you imagine a country from as far off as China is coming to Chile and to our territory and polluting and destroying and causing suffering? Well, this absolutely horrific forest fires that have started in the monoculture tree plantations. These plantations are very flammable and are driving these epic forest fires. And entire communities and even towns were wiped out by these giant fires that just rage for weeks, and all the water dries up. And we demand respect for our people and for all of life. But we continue to struggle. We have hope that a time will come when we will be heard and heeded. And we will persevere and we will prevail. The contribution of Indigenous women is crucial. It always has been. And so we are struggling and we are uniting. And we've come here to let the world know that we are trying to protect our animals and our children and struggle for them and to defend life. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. I am very honored to have such amazing speakers on the panel. We ran into Eva yesterday in the cafeteria and we talked to them and we thought it was really important to make sure that she had a platform to speak. So thank you for your words. I am now going to pass the mic to Rochelle, who has been very patient. And I just really appreciate Rochelle for being here. She is an Anishinaabe, and I'd like her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what's going on with her.
Miigwech, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I'm a little choked up. So I'm going to start by expressing my solidarity with these sisters here and the struggles that they're going through. Hear these stories inside the United Nations as well, and they just don't get easier. So thank you for this opportunity to be here. I want to thank Indigenous Environmental Network for allowing me this space and the opportunity to stand in solidarity with these sisters and not just talk about what are the threats, but how can we support one another? What are the solutions? And how can we continue this North-South solidarity? We tend to get so siloed in our communities. And so these platforms are really important. So as she said, my name is Rochelle Diver. I'm Anishinaabe. I'm a citizen of Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe. The Anishinaabe people are a cross-border tribe. They drew the line right between our communities and between our territories. So we are Anishinaabe in the US and Canada, meaning our threats come from both countries. From what's now called Minnesota, it's the land of 10,000 lakes. We are the water bearers, the Anishinaabe. Our women are our water keepers, our water protectors, and their sacred connection to the water is really the core of the Anishinaabe people. I'm going to tell you a bit about the environmental violence that is taking place on Anishinaabe territory. An abundance of water is not our issue. Our water is contaminated. Just like my sister here, our fish are filled with mercury. The water is contaminated with persistent organic pollutants, POPs, pesticides, chemicals, the forever chemicals that we're hearing about. Our women are giving birth to babies that are pre-polluted with mercury, simply from living traditional subsistence lifestyles off the land. Our threats are many. to the north of my territory, actually on Anishinaabe territory. We have what's called the Iron Range. Iron ore mining has been there since the 50s, contaminating our water, our soil, our people. Next to the mine is a coal-fired power plant, contributing to the mercury. We are downstream of these extractives and chemicals flowing right into our territory. Our traditional food is wild rice. It's the core of our people. And the sulfates coming from the mines and from the coal-fired power plants are suffocating our rice. We don't know how long our wild rice beds are going to be able to withstand these threats. We also have Enbridge, Canadian tar sands, oil pipeline, runs right underneath my nation, line 3. Right now, they are set to approve line 5. That's going to go right under Lake Superior, one of the deepest freshwater lakes in the world. And they are going to put a pipeline filled with some of the dirtiest tar sands oil out there. You'd think that would be enough. There's more. They are now proposing transition mineral mine in northern Minnesota as well. What's called the boundary waters. Some of the most pristine lands left, not only in Minnesota, but in the United States. That's why they come for us. That's why they come for our Indigenous territories, because they have sucked the rest of the land. They have taken everything they can from it. And so now we are frontline defenders on our front doorstep, just trying to maintain what we have left for our future generations. These multinational mining companies of China, many mining companies are out of Canada. They have no idea the harm that they're causing. You can't clean up mercury. We can't take that out of the fish. For women, we pass it on to our babies. Same with the persistent organic pollutants, the POPs. Our adult bodies may be able to handle some of these toxics, but not our poor babies. They can't handle it. And they come into this world innocent. And this is what they're born into. How do we as Indigenous women, as Indigenous peoples, fight these multinational companies? They use violence to intimidate our sisters from the South. For being Indigenous defenders, environmental defenders, we need to find a way to protect them, to shine more of a light on it. All of these extractives, all these chemicals, and we're seeing the impacts of climate change as well. Right now is time for sugar bush in northern Minnesota, which is harvesting maple syrup. This year, our trees aren't running. The sap isn't there. It's supposed to be springtime. We're supposed to be getting the rains to be able to replenish the earth, the grass, the trees. It's seen any other year, and actually Minnesota is known for their cold and snow, but this year we've had a record amount of snowfall, the most in history in this year of 2023. On top of that, in the summer, up to a dozen times, we are seeing temperatures of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Our trees, our birch trees, the white trees, they're not going to be able to survive in this climate. We've already lost some of our traditional food. The moose have migrated to Canada. They cannot live in these conditions anymore. If the world continues to heat up, we will lose our birch trees. We will lose our forests. And the cultural connection that we have to those lands will always be there, but we'll have to find a new way to live amongst new species, new brothers and sisters, our animal brothers and sisters. So we're finding a way to combat climate change by planting trees, preparing for this warm weather, and continuing to care for the land and appreciate the gifts that are still there, that feed our families, that feed our elders. And I know that a lot of people feel at a loss of how to move forward. How do we not let this impact every day of our lives? How do we wake up every morning, get dressed, go out there and face the world when it's just one threat after another? I'm going to take a quote from our brothers and sisters in Hawaii. They say, "I'm Hawaiian by blood and American by force." These countries that have come onto our territories threaten our sovereignty every single day. And it's our job as women to look forward 7 generations. But as I said, unfortunately, we're just living day by day by day, waiting for the next threat, waiting for another massive company to knock on our door. We started to hear of lands being bought around our reservation. The company was called Kennecott. That didn't mean anything. We kept digging. We kept digging. Rio Tinto. I'm guessing many of you have heard of Rio Tinto. They have wreaked havoc around the world, and now here they're coming for us in Minnesota. With that, I am going to say the Anishinaabe are standing tall, are standing proud. Our women are on the front lines. Our women are here at the United Nations sharing our stories, attempting to hold these settler governments accountable. But this isn't our space either. My boss calls it the belly of the beast, and we can't forget that for 1 minute. Inside of there, that's for them. It's not for us. This right here, this is why we do what we do, to share these spaces, to organize, to support one another. So I'm gonna finish here now by asking you, are you gonna stand with us? Are you gonna stand in solidarity with us? Are we gonna link arms and hearts? And are we gonna speak truth to power? And are we gonna have such vast numbers that they can no longer ignore us? Yes. So sisters and brothers, family, let's all put our fists up for power and solidarity and love. Miigwech.
Thank you, Rochelle, for those incredibly powerful words. We're getting to the end. We have about 15 minutes left, and I just want to once again share that this is an incredible honor, and I'm humbled to be on this stage with such an amazing incredible group of women that have spent their entire lives fighting for the earth and fighting for their communities, their families. You heard a lot of very hard stories, but I want to also remind all of us that we can be in a space of grief, that we can hold that space of grief, and that it's okay. I think that sometimes it's, as Indigenous women, we try to be too tough to the point where we don't even give ourselves the space to grieve because we have too many things to do. We have to take care of our kids. We have to make sure our community is taken care of. We have to fight for our land. We have to make sure that we have food on the table. We have to make sure that our bills are paid. We have to make sure that we can survive on top of the responsibilities of being a good relative to the earth, to the animals, to the winged, those that swim, those that fly. We have an incredible amount of responsibility on our shoulders, and we are able to navigate life with laughter, with love, and with grace. And I hope that we're able to be in solidarity with each other. We will be in solidarity. And this is what this panel is about, because I want to make sure that we all have a platform. And I was trying to get some African sisters to come. I wanted to have global representation, but I am so happy to have some North-South representation, that we were able to give a platform to our sisters in the South. And I'm so grateful for our sister from Chile that was able to come. And I'm grateful to our sisters from Brazil, GURANI, and the Kiowa, and the HUNI. And I apologize if I mispronounced that. I'm learning, LEILA. I just want to say that no matter what, we won't give up. We won't stop fighting. And last night, LEILA and Lydia, we had dinner last night, and they shared a story with me about an Indigenous leader that's a woman that was assassinated. And we can't forget the women that have died in the fight for our earth, but at the same time, we also have to live in the beauty of life. And those are a paradox, but we also have to remember to take care of ourselves. We have to remember to drink water and eat, because sometimes we're working 17 hours a day. Sometimes we got to slow down, and we got to remember that we're making ourselves sick while we're trying to save the earth. And we can't continue to run ourselves into the ground while we're trying to save the earth. And unfortunately, I see this happening a lot with a lot of us Indigenous women. So I just want to send all the love out to all of us that are on the front lines, that are fighting, that have multiple projects, and the ones that are traveling. I want to send prayers of protection to LEILA and Ava and Lydia, SHYRLENE. They have traveled so far to the UN. And as our sister Rochelle said, the UN is not our space. It's actually a very oppressive space. But this is the reason why we come, is to network, to meet each other, to find out our struggles, and to hold space for each other, and to say that you are not alone, that we are going to stand with you and we will fight with you. And I plan on going to Brazil this summer to extend the solidarity and to fight with our sisters and brothers in Brazil. And I will try to go to Chile as well. And Indigenous Environmental Network is in solidarity with our sisters and brothers around the world. And so I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank our translators. Without our translators, we would not have language justice. So I just want to say thank you. I want to thank everybody that put this on. SHYRLENE, that had to leave early to go to another panel. I know Lydia and LEILA have to leave soon too. About 12 minutes. If any of our panelists have any closing thoughts or remarks that they would like to share, you are welcome to share that. Otherwise, so anyone wants to share?
Echalto la mien manyum, Mangiluwain ten wenuma pu chaumeo, wenuma pu ñuque, el moñen, el luistocom, mapumeo, tañi maleal, tañi come moñeleal, feita, reculuwayin, come, afkasi kunuawin, feimeo takome chipayayin compensin, feita ka mañum lamien, eimi, ñenruka, mulelo feita meu, pero mañen mai, como come puto ay manta manruka meu, feita shiura mapuru metulo eiman, come puto ayman, ka come puto ayin tainchin, bueno mapucha meu ta mañelo guayin, tani come puto al tani mapuchi le yo ta ngum niene com ta pureima. Quiero agradecer nuevamente la invitación.
Muchas gracias de nuevo. Thank you very much once again for inviting me. Thank you, sisters and brothers who have joined us. Thank you very much. I wish those of you who have to travel after your participation in the UN, very bon voyage. It's been so enriching to connect with brothers and sisters from different territories to strengthen our resolve, to strengthen our courage. And I give thanks to the great creator and the spirits of the universe. We know that not just men and women suffer, the animals are also suffering. I am a great ally of animals, and we know that they're also suffering, and we need to show them so much love. So I embrace each and every one of you on behalf of the Mapuche people, and I'm sure we'll meet again somewhere in the world. And a warm embrace for each and every one of you.
Quero te agradecer mais uma vez.
I would like to thank one more time for being here, sharing this experience with you. Each one of us sharing on each other's pain. That is very important. We felt that each one of us women listening to each other's voice. That feels very good, because us women feel every painful moment, because we are born to be a mother, to be a grandmother. So everything that happens in this world, we always carry that with us. So all women, I would like to thank the girl that's here, that's not a mother yet, that's not a grandmother yet. When I was little, I didn't feel anything. Everything was fine when my mother was raising me. But she always told me that one day, women, indigenous women, at some moment, this was really going to happen. Because nowadays is 2023, and we don't know in 2024 or 2025 what's going to happen to us. So I was thinking a lot about that, regarding what my mother used to say about this. So this is very important. So once again, I would like to thank you all. our relatives that feel our pain, our pain. So I'm also very happy to be here with you. So I hope to be here again, to listen to your voices, to listen to you talk, to look at this place again. So I'd like to thank you again. Every one of you, thank you.
And I've taken enough space here. This is really about hearing our sisters from down south. So I'm just
Deus já
opportunity to thank all of you, Miigwech, for coming and sharing this space with us, coming in with open hearts and support. And I want to say Chi Miigwech to our sister Claire for your kind moderation and for all the hard work that went in behind the scenes to make this happen. Miigwech.
So this concludes our panel. Unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to do question and answer just because of the Zoom audience. But if you do have some questions, I know that some of our guests do have to leave right after. I will be around though, so please look up Indigenous Environmental Network. We are on the front lines of a lot of actions. We have a lot of information. Please help yourself to some booklets, Hoodwinked. They're out on the table out front. They are in 5 different languages: French, Spanish, Portuguese, English, and Arabic. So please grab one and look us up. I also just want to conclude with the fact that I'm really appreciative once again of the translators. I don't speak Spanish or Portuguese, which is a failure on my part. And I'm appreciative of Lydia of Grassroots International, who is here with our sisters from Brazil. I'm very appreciative of Tamara, one of our coworkers that also speaks Portuguese. I'm appreciative of Cassandra and her team. Language justice is important, and we need to make sure that all of our voices are heard in all of different languages. So thank you very much. Namnench.